Hey everyone, I'm back with another video. Today I'll be showing off a Baron Son knife, but this is from last year's annual sale. This year I'm going to be going again with some friends, and I'm hoping I'll get something awesome like this one. I got this one last year and I never made a video on it. But it is a very cool find that actually I didn't find, but the Blade Bloodhound did find because I went with him last year. And he kind of showed me the ways of going to the Baron Son factory and all the other cool little things to do there. So, when I first got this, the blades were a lot darker. These are a carbon steel, and if you can tell, which you can on camera pretty easily, these are Damascus, and they're carbon steel Damascus. So when I first got the knife, the blades were super duper dark from the patina, and then there was some rust on it. But with the knife eraser, you can see how well these blades cleaned up. You can see some rust still sitting there from where some just didn't get taken off. And here is the tang stamp. I don't know if y'all can tell, if y'all can see that very well, but let me see if I can zoom in. You can see Bear MGC USA, and this one does not have any dots or anything on it. So if anybody is familiar with Baron Son better than I am, these were in their second cases, so there's no telling how old this is or how new it is, but maybe somebody can tell me a rough estimate on this tang stamp. But let me fix my camera, sorry. And then let's get into the review. You can tell this does still have some nice snap on it. There's that main blade, you can hear that snap. It's a pretty well-made knife. I didn't clean it off very well. Thought it was already pretty clean, but I guess not. You can tell that there is this shiny, looks like rosewood to me. It's the same color as rosewood, but then you can see these nice back springs. You know, they're kind of, there's some, get these cleaned off. Let's see how that looks. And there's still some just scratching on these. You know, at the Baron Son factory, they kind of just throw them into the bins with 100 other knives, and you just have to fend for yourself and find your own. So the bolsters are nice and scratched up. The bottom springs are scratched up. Every bolster on this knife is messed up, but it doesn't really make a difference because I got this knife for probably $10 or $15, somewhere in between. But you can tell it has some nice rosewood handles. It's nice and shiny from where I polished it up. It has one brass pin just in the middle, keep that piece of wood on there. Has brass liners, and these actually have inside the knife is a 3D liner. I'll show you some case knives and show you how they do their middle liners. But here you can see this first blade is a clip point style blade. Has that thumb, the nail nick. You can see that Damascus blade in the light. If you can see that, I hope y'all can. But like I said, these were very dark. It kind of looked cool dark, but you can see like kind of up in there how dark that is. That's kind of how the entire blade looked. Here is the sheep's foot blade. This one has some nice Damascus. You can see the different layers. This one's a cool pattern on that Damascus. And that's the sheep's foot. And then it's a Stockman, so there's 3 blades. It has a spay blade. And there you can see that cool Damascus on that spay blade as well. Very pretty Damascus. And the edges are pretty nice too. I didn't get this one resharpened, but it still feels like it has a good edge on these. Good snap, like I said earlier. But really, I don't see how why this one ended up as a second. You can see the tang on this one goes so far down. It is quite unusual looking. But really, other than that, I don't see many flaws in this knife. That blade grind's kind of wonky on the sheep's foot. They're normally just straight across, and it kind of has a recurve here. You can see kind of it's not flat. Kind of has a recurve up at the top. And then like the spay blade, then looks like a factory spay blade, you know? So really, I don't know why this knife ended up being a second. Because there's not really bad gaps in the back springs. No worse than you'd see on a case knife. And then you can see, like I was talking about earlier, these liners are 3-dimensional. That kind of go in the center of the knife. You can see this center liner feeds through, and it's 3-dimensional in there and gives it a better separation on these blades. So there is going to be, I think in theory, there'd be less blade rub, but I don't think. They're still crammed in. They're pretty tight. But really, this is kind of a 47 Stockman style. I have a 32 Stockman, and I'll kind of show y'all the difference in the blades. Of course, this is a 32 Stockman, and it's a little different. But I'll start off with the liner. It is flush with the back springs on the very bottom of the knife. And there's not really, there is a little bit of a separation, but there's not much. But this is kind of how a traditional sheep's foot looks. It is just kind of straight across, while this one has kind of a recurve at the bottom. And if y'all are familiar with the 32s, you can see this one's a little longer, because this one's considered a medium Stockman, and these would just be a normal plain Stockman, while these are like the 47 style, like a case knife. Another one I have is the Sodbuster Jr. Similar lengths. Stockman's going to be a little bigger. Of course, the Sodbuster Jr. is going to be bigger than that. They're about the same length. And then I also have a Trapper. Everybody's familiar with the Trapper. Trapper's going to be bigger, of course, but you can see the length in that as well. So, cool Stockman. Really don't know why it's considered a second. It just got thrown in there, I guess. But just nice Damascus. Cleaned up very well. The edge still feels really nice and sharp still. But of course I haven't used it or gotten it resharpened. So, great snap. And after this factory tour, maybe I'll have some new stuff and I can do a video on that, show y'all what I pick up from the Bear factory, because I'm excited to be going again this coming Saturday. I'm going to get these blades back where I can show this all open. So thank y'all for watching today's video. Let me know on the age of this knife if y'all have a rough estimate. But thank y'all for watching. Make sure y'all leave any thoughts and comments down below. Y'all have a great rest of y'all's night. Bye.